Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Melissa Andre. I'm the Executive Director of the Tax Review Board, and we are convening today's session. Today is September 12th of 2023. I do want to note for the record that we do not have a stenographer here, as we usually do. However, this is being recorded, so if any of these matters get appealed, we can provide this recording to the court reporter, and that can be transcribed. With me today is our chair, Nancy Kammerdiener, as well as the full board, which is board members Paula Weiss, George Matthews, Ryan Boyer, and Dominique Ward. Yes, I see her. And Dominique Ward. I couldn't find her for a second. I am obligated to also note to please be aware that this is a public hearing and it is being recorded. Because the meeting is public, participants and viewers have no expectation of privacy. And by continuing to be in this meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. At this time, I'm going to hand over control of the hearing to our chair, again, Nancy Kammerdiener, and we can proceed. Nancy.
Thank you very much. Before we turn to the in-person issues on the board, I want to note that 2 items have been withdrawn before today's hearing was established. Those were items number 4 and 6. They were withdrawn because the cases were settled with the city, and we don't really need to put them on our agenda today. Case number 2 for East Falls Ridge Avenue, last 4 digits of the docket 9689, has been continued. And item number 5 for Pennsylvania Convention Center, last 4 digits of the docket 9915, has also been continued. In both cases, the board had approved those continuances prior to today's hearing. That lets us turn to item number 1. I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce this correctly, so please forgive me, but Hu Guo Ming, last 4 digits of the docket 0270. I understand the petitioner is on the call.
They're in the room.
Okay, they're in the room here at the office. Please identify yourself for the record.
Guomin Chu. I'm the previous owner on 2319 Kosky Street.
And with you?
I am, my name is Angel Carbo. I'm the sister of Guomin.
Okay. In both cases, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth with everything that comes before the board?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. Who has this matter for the city?
Good afternoon. If the board pleases, this is Kareem Saifeddin for the city.
Okay, do you have anyone who needs to be identified and sworn?
Ms. Hike.
Please identify yourself for the record.
I'm Talipa Hike. I'm with the Adjudications Unit for Water Revenue Bureau.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth with everything that comes before the board?
Yes.
Okay, does the city have any opening comments before we get involved with the petitioner?
Yes. First, the city moves that this petition be marked no action needed. The property was sold twice after the petition was filed. The first sale was to one Gerson Ferrer on January 25th, 2022. The water debt was not paid at closing in this sale. However, Mr. Ferrer sold the property on to a third party, or 2 third parties, I should say, Ratach and Sambor Long, on March 17th, 2023. The water debt, including all amounts under dispute for Mr. Chiu, were fully paid at closing in this sale. As the disputed debt was paid, the dispute can be marked no action needed. The documentation of this was submitted to the board. All deeds applicable for the property were submitted in the packet to the board, as was an account history statement for each of the 3 accounts.
Let's turn to the petitioner for a moment. Were you aware that you had a completed sale, completion that would have taken place in January of 22?
Yes. When we bought the property at the time, there was water bill remained unpaid. So we actually had signed an escrow agreement with Rachel's office, which is the title company, and we're going to file the appeal. And in the meantime, the money was going to be held in an escrow. And however, the appeal took a long time. And then the property got, we sold again. So Rachel actually went ahead and paid off the water bill without our knowledge. So now we cannot even, move forward with this appeal.
If you sold the property, do you not understand that you had no legal obligation going forward with those old bills? Or
the old bill actually, my brother bought this property through a sheriff's sale. And at the time, the sheriff's office gave us a zero balance on the water bill, which is I have proof here with me. And COVID hit, and we got the property back,
from what the city is saying, you never had a continuing obligation on the water bills on this when the property was sold. Am I stating that correctly?
Yes, but
no, I'm turning to the city. I'm asking the city that. Is that correct?
So what I can say is I have 2 points after hearing this. So first, the city has no knowledge about from where these monies came, other than it was paid at closing, and it was paid at closing in the course of a sale from one third party to another. So neither Mr. Chiu nor his sister were involved in the sale in March, at which these amounts were paid. Second, to the extent that Mr. Chiu is requesting the removal of water and sewer debts that predate his ownership, yes, yes, he is correct that it was bought at sheriff's sale. But if you look at the sheriff's sale document, it was not a city sheriff's sale. It was a bank sheriff's sale. It was a mortgage sheriff's sale. And under the Municipal Claims Tax and Tax Liens Act, which is 43 Purdon Statute Section 7106, municipal liens are, I think it's 53 Purdon Statutes. I think I had a typo there. Municipal liens are superior to mortgage liens and are not satisfied by a mortgage sheriff's sale. So
let's go back to the beginning here. I think that our basic first question has to deal with standing. That, Mr. Chiu, you're no longer the owner of this property. So actually, we're two owners past you already.
I agree.
Pardon me?
I agree with you.
Yes. So that really you have no legal standing to be here with regard to this property or the accounts that are attached to it.
I do have a question for the petitioner before us, and that is whether or not you have actually paid any of those outstanding water bills during the time period when you did have some legal title to the property.
After I was going to finish this, a little history of the property. We bought this in sheriff's sale. Sheriff's sale showed the water balance is zero when we purchased. And somehow...
My question is, did you actually pay out of pocket to the city for any of the water charges?
That was the dispute we have. We took possession in 2019, and the bill went up to $6,000. We have that in question. That's why we actually filed an appeal all this time.
But did you pay that money to the city?
The title company somehow paid, because the money was in escrow when we sold the property the first time. The title company held in escrow while this appeal was pending. So then the second, obviously, we're no longer the owner. We didn't know, the person that we sold it to, and then we sell the property to somebody else. So the title company, Rachel, on behalf, paid the bill in full, so we cannot even contest. So in this hearing, I would like to request and say that, because of that, we can no longer contest on our water bills.
But I have a
Correct.
question. I have a question.
Yes.
Go ahead, Brett.
You sold the property on 1/25. You sold the property on January 25th, 2022. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
When you sold the property, when did the timing from you bought the property from the sheriff sale? When you bought the property from the sheriff sale, when did you notice that a $6,000 water bill was on the property?
Sometime April 2019.
2019.
No, 2019 we bought the property. When did you notice? First notice the bill?
2000, when I
No,
go and then notice, and then
we didn't know the water bill until the title company tell us, hey, there is a lien against the property for $6,000 or 60 something change.
So you
Did
went
you-
through the title. Hold on. You went through
Yeah.
the title company. You found out that you owed $6,000 on the water bill. Are you aware? Did you buy it from a mortgage sheriff sale, not a tax sheriff sale?
Yes. But we have a bill from the sheriff's office saying the water is zero in 2019. I have the documentation here. And there was, I have documentation. I think it was submitted, I believe, to the water department.
Okay, can I summarize and ask a couple questions? Ryan, did you have any more questions before I
No,
jump in?
no, you probably can help me.
So I'll try. So essentially where we are is you purchased this property through a foreclosure sale. At settlement for you, the title company withheld into an escrow account unpaid water bills or payments that were due. You have since sold the property.
No. When we bought
the property?
When we bought the property, the water bill is zero. We have not.
Yes, and your title company held that money in escrow.
No.
No, they didn't. They didn't hold the money. This is what counsel for the city is trying to explain. He's trying to point out that the liens that are or bills that are owed to the city trump or are superior to the other bill at hand. So what I'm guessing happened here is that she has a bill of zero initially when she bought it from that bank sale. And then the city back billed and still wanted to collect their mony. And then they informed the title company. Is that what happened, Kareem?
No, actually,
okay.
If I might, I think the critical point here is to ask, has Ms. Kurtz been sworn in?
No, she has not, nor has she been called a witness.
Okay.
We have not gotten over the standing issue, just pointing
Okay.
out.
Yeah, we don't think they have standing. That's our
if
concern.
I may, like the petition was filed, and let me see. The petition was filed on
November 21st.
November 4th, 2021, challenging everything up through the most recent month's bill. Now, it is the city's position that to the extent that a water customer challenges bills that accrued during their ownership, okay, they have standing irrespective of whether they have sold, but only as respect to bills that first accrued during their ownership. So for Mr. Cho, he has standing to challenge any bill which initially accrued between September 25th, 2019 and January 25th, 2022, because he is personally liable for that under Municipal Claims Tax Liens Act, Section 7251.
He's personally liable? I thought the water bills go with the property.
Yes, but
yeah, I thought they were in rem. I didn't think they were in persona.
They are in rem. They are in rem. However, Municipal Claims and Tax Liens Act, Section 7251, renders registered title owner of a property personally liable for water bills accruing at that property during that time.
Kareem, I need that briefed. That is a completely different position than I have ever heard a city attorney.
Yeah, because my understanding is that, so for example, in this instance, if they did not settle out at sale the outstanding bill that was owed, the next owner would then be responsible to still pay that water bill with the property. That's my understanding.
And the first owner in this chain would not have any residual responsibility for it under
because
that
it runs in
if I'm
rem versus in
understanding you
persona.
correctly.
Yeah,
that's not because, and I can reference the statute. It's quite clear. I can just pull it up in Westlaw and share my screen. Actually,
this is different from what I've ever heard before.
Yes, it's a newer interpretation that, or I should say, an older interpretation that we are reviving.
So, Queen, can you just make sure or clarify for us, the bill in question is, he can now just, like, the city's position is that the bill in question, the petitioner is liable for?
Not all of it. Okay. So this issue here is that about $6,000 and change were outstanding at the time of sheriff's sale. I don't know where she gets this information ma'am, where she's getting this information about there being a zero balance. Maybe the sheriff's office was misinformed. I don't know.
No,
but hold on, please. However, about 1,000 and change, or a couple hundred, did accrue during his ownership, and he would be entitled to challenge those bills under the city's interpretation.
But they're paid.
They're not paid. Well, that's the other thing.
They were paid later, though.
All of these bills, plus an additional couple hundred that accrued under the second owner in this chain, were paid at the sale to the third owners. And I think the critical issue here is, from whose money did that escrow come from? And I feel like Ms. Kurtz is the person most qualified to answer that question. So it may be a good idea for the board to call Ms. Kurtz to testify to this question of standing, to determine just which bills Mr. Joe actually has standing to challenge.
Mr. Stapendine, I would generally, I think the board at this moment may want to take a step back just to kind of understand what has been said. And in regard, unless they want to hear, and I'm of course deferring to the board, unless you want to hear from Ms. Kurtz, who's from the title company, and then take a step back. So it's up to the board.
And I have something that I would like to say before the board, to give a little history back to what it started. When we
I think we're not really ready for that. I think we have some preliminary issues.
The issue is whether or not you can even present or go forward. And I think the board is trying to figure out if you have standing, and if you do have standing, on what parts do you have standing on? And so before we can answer that, like, we need to answer those questions before we can hear any more information from you about why you don't believe you should pay or whatever the case may be.
Elisa, I have a question to them. How much did you pay when you bought the property? At the time of purchase, how much was it?
125 something.
105,000.
105,000.
105,000.
At that time, did anyone bring to your attention that there was an outstanding water bill?
No, I'm buying.
How much did you buy when you sold this one? Yeah, correct.
No. Did anyone bring to your attention that there was any outstanding water bill at that time on the property?
Was zero. And then a squatter moved into the house after we bought it. That's why the water bill, we're willing to pay some water bill, but not,
Okay, that's fine. I think that answers the question. George, did you have another question?
No, thank you. That's enough.
I had another question. When you sold it in January of 22, how much did you sell it for?
145.
140. And is that when you learned of this? Okay.
Correct.
Can somebody call the title company so we could get?
I think Mr. Safedine should.
Ms. Kurtz,
if you call the title company and ask them.
I call Ms. Rachel Kurtz.
Thank you.
Have you been identified for the record?
No.
Please identify yourself for the record.
My name is Rachel Kurtz. I'm with RK Abstract.
And let's see, I guess I need to swear you in as well. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth with everything let's try that again, that comes before the board?
I do. I do have to say that I am being represented.
We're going to ask you questions. Kareem, did you want to start?
Well, wait, are you saying you're represented by counsel?
I am. So I'm very limited to what I can answer, but I can answer about the escrow.
Okay.
I have one preliminary question then.
Sure.
When was the escrow created?
The escrow was created at sale when they were selling the property.
Which sale?
At the petitioner's sale in January of 2022.
So it was so it wasn't when they
his money.
It was when they sold.
Correct.
Okay, and then the escrow was turned over to the city at the March 2023 sale.
When my buyer at the time was then selling. And in order to clear the property, the judgment was still there. We had to pay what was owed at the time, which was $74.82.
Got it. Those were my questions. Kareem, I don't know if you have others.
Okay, that clarifies exactly when. And to that extent, what the city's position would be twofold. Number one, that Mr. Cho has standing for whatever amount accrued during his ownership to challenge that. And then he would actually have challenging to stand, but he would not have challenging to, he would also have standing to seek a refund, okay, through the refund process, okay?
And can Ms. Height separate out for us what those dollar amounts are? And we know when he purchased and we know when he sold. So how much money accumulated against the water bill during that time period?
From September, we're speaking into September 3rd, 2019.
Yes, and leave out the balance transfer.
Right.
Okay, and leave out the balance transfer?
Yes, to leave it out.
All right, give me a second.
About $300 or $400.
Here's a few $100. Give me a second, I'm almost there.
Could you repeat that?
I have, as a matter of fact, it's not. I have 125.12.
$125?
You're saying don't include the $6,649.39?
Yeah, how much accrued between that date and between starting 10/1/21. Oh, sorry.
9/3/19.
Starting 10/1/21 through
3/7/22. Net of payments.
Okay, give me some.
125.22.
Bills, not payments, right?
Bills. And then I'm going to ask you about payments.
All right.
So yeah, total bills and then how much he paid.
All right.
Paula, can I ask when the actual balance transfer happened and how much it was for?
The actual transfer to the petitioner actually was transferred over to him. It looks like 9/8/21.
Yeah, it looks like sheriff's office didn't communicate.
Yeah, and it was in the amount of $6,649.39.
They bought the property in 19.
Yes.
September.
And then they didn't get the bill, the water bill, until 9/21.
Okay, actually, Taliba, we can't rely. I forgot about this. We can't rely on that because it looks like the sheriff's office didn't send us. The sheriff's office didn't send us didn't send WRB the deed right as when the sheriff's sale was executed. This happens sometimes, as I'm sure the board is aware. So we're actually looking
at September the 10th, 2019 then.
Yeah, September and 2009. Is that yeah, the first bill would be October 1st of 19.
Was that the $6,000 bill or the big bill?
Yeah, that was September 10th, 2019. It was $6,600.
And when did they buy it?
$39, huh?
They bought it on the 8th. What day did they buy the property from sheriff's sale?
September 10th, 2019.
So yeah, there was about.
Hold on. Was the bill on there when they bought it, according to your system, or they didn't get the bill until 21?
I go back to the owner the owner before them. Let me go back to the owner before them. Yes.
I'm sorry, where are we?
So Taliba, Ms. Hike from the Water Revenue Bureau is currently looking at what the balance was at the time that the previous owner to the petition was there. So we're trying to figure out what was the amount that should have been conveyed to the petitioner at the time they purchased the property.
And then what is the amount that Mr. Safety is saying we may have jurisdiction to review?
As soon as I get this,
I've made my own review of the counts, and
give us an estimate.
Actually, Mr. Chio has. So what happened here is that the account remained in the name of the prior owner most likely because of an error from the sheriff's end. Once the city was, but it does seem that the outstanding balance at sheriff's sale was paid in October of 2019. There's about $3,600 in sheriff's sale proceeds received by the city, $13,600 on October 4th of 19, which means that the remaining $6,649.39 that was transferred over to the account in Mr. Chio's name that was created in 2021 was actually accrued during his ownership. So he would in fact have standing to challenge all of that amount.
He accrued $6,000 in that little in one bill?
No, in a couple dozen bills from 2019 through 21 that were being issued under the wrong name because it looks like the sheriff's office didn't tell us that the property had been sold.
Can we go to the back, please?
Absolutely.
Please.
And I have just one more question, but I agree, Ryan. Were any payments made against these liabilities during this petitioner's ownership period?
Didn't know he had them. They would send them to other people in the
Well, but even for the current, like current bills that they were, accrue. I guess they weren't getting any bills, right? All right, I'm ready to go back. I give up.
All right, everybody just hold tight. This is a very complicated case. Hold tight.
Kareem, the previous owners was 6,600 something. It was there. The guy that owned it before him, it was 6,600 something.
Yes, but give me a moment. Taliba, because the sheriffs didn't tell us that Mr. Chio bought the property for 2 years after he did it. The account was opened in 21 when the sale was in 19. That only happens when the sheriff's office doesn't freaking do their jobs. Pardon my French.
But the balance was still there. In any case, the balance was still there.
Yeah, that means that $6,000 is his balance.
Yeah, it was still there because because of the type of sheriff's sale, he still was responsible for it.
I mean, the type of sheriff's sale doesn't matter. It's all during his ownership.
Yeah.
And the bills were going to the property during that time.
Yes. Guess we're going mute now.
Okay, so even if Mr. Chio, Mr. Chio, was this rented out?
No, just no one living in there. And then, but between our ownership, 2019 to 21, there was a squatter moved into the house, and we actually filed the ejectment. And right before the sheriff comes out and COVID hit. So that took a year and a half for the sheriff to send the sheriffs to evict those squatters. And that's what we're challenging, you know, the water bill. But we, at this point, what you're saying, I really don't know where this 774.51 water bill come from. Because the squatters living there, we understand that there might be monthly water bills, but it's, you know, during that time period, it's not going to be $7,000 for a year and a half water bill.
The readings were actual. So tell you what, though, if you'll agree to a continuance, to continue this hearing, I might be able to work out a deal with you instead of having to make the board make a decision, if you would prefer. It's up to you. I can't make any concrete offers just yet. But, you know, especially because I didn't hear about, you know, the fact that you had paid, that the escrow was out of your monies and not.
Exactly. So I don't know we have any standing, because now the title company paid the bill on our behalf.
Out of escrow monies that you would have been returned to you.
We actually have a escrow contract specified saying that if you need to pay the bill, you got to send it back to us. We will pay it. But, you know, Rachel, Ms. Court actually paid the, you know, the title company paid the bill in full. So we don't even know we have standing here. So we don't know what to do.
The city is not objecting to standing in this case, but what I am going to do is, if you're amenable, I feel like it may be better for you and I to discuss this. Okay. This is the first hearing before the full board, if I understand correctly. So I feel like they may be more willing. Yes, they may be more willing to give us a continuance to try and settle. If you're open to that.
Yes, I am. However, I have a question. So now the title company paid the bill. What's going to happen, you know, in terms of that?
They get a refund?
Yeah, you'd have to go through the refund process. Actually, it might be better, especially because we're still within the period to request a refund. It's a 3-year period. Maybe better for us to withdraw the petition, contact me, and if you're still dissatisfied, or actually, I don't know. I honestly don't know at this point. This is an unusual situation because the amounts have been paid, and normally when the amounts have been paid, you need to file a request for refund and appeal that. So when the board comes back, I'm going to suggest that the board dismiss this case for lack of jurisdiction, because you need it's now in a refund posture and you need to request a refund. Then and you have time to do that. It's, you know, the sale was in March of this year. You have 3 years for us to work with that. It'll be much quicker than that. I will ask my superiors if there's any kind of deal we can do. And if not, you'd still retain the right to appeal, to request a refund. And then if the refund request is denied, to appeal that to the board again.
Because what happened is actually we have an action, you know, right now we're taking action on the title company because they're not supposed to pay out, you know, the water bill without our knowledge. So, so we have that issue going on right now. So what do you suggest the best to do?
I'm here representing the city. I'm not making any legal advice.
I understand.
I was simply stating a course of action which I intend to take. And I'm so as not to blindside you. But Ms. Kurtz, is there a civil action by Mr. Chiu?
I have not seen one filed.
Okay.
I have not seen one filed. I wanted to ask if there is when there is a refund issued, if you can let me know that amount, so I know what obviously amount's going to be refunded. And my question is, I'm the one, the title company cut the check. Do you guys refund me or do you refund him directly?
See, this is the thing, is payments at closing are notoriously like complex, because who even paid?
Right. The title, the petitioner did pay this money. So, and I have proof of all of that.
So in this instance, I think they would have the standing because they're the ones who ultimately made the payment, and they used you as an intermediary.
I just want to make sure, because I don't want to have it going to a new owner. It's not their money.
Yeah. I feel like if they file it directly, the check would be issued to them in their names.
That's fine. I just want to make sure.
You wouldn't be
in worst case, it's cut to me, then I can send it back to them. But I don't want to have it where you guys send it to a new owner.
Oh yeah.
Or even the previous owner, and then they don't get the refund.
We've dealt with this before. The way this would work, like as a logistical matter, accounting matter, and basis, is that if they win a refund appeal, and I'm not saying that you would, I would fight that on the merits, okay? But to the extent that you win anything, or that you or that my superiors agree to give you a refund, the amounts at issue would be created as a credit on the closed account, okay? Because there's a closed account in Mr. Cho's name,
right?
And it would be created, if he wins like a $2,000 credit, it'd be $2,000 would be put in credit, and then he would be entitled to request that as a refund from the refunds unit in revenue.
So my other question is, I have additional money being held. I want to make sure there's any additional fees that will be charged to the petitioners.
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay, I want to make that clear and understand that. Okay.
Because the bill, the last bill that was issued in the name of Gerson Ferrer is the last bill for which Gerson Ferrer had any personal liability. And the last bill for which Mr. Cho, in the name of Guoming Cho, that is the last greatest amount in his name, which, let me see how much that is.
I was going to say, can you give me the exact amount right now? What was owed between the petitioner and Gerson? So I know the difference, because I paid, it looks like a little more than what was needed. So I want to be able to refund back the petitioner's money.
Okay. So the amount that was due and owing and that was transferred to Mr. Ferrer's account was $7,001.73.
That is exactly what the petitioner owed, supposedly at the time of the sale in 2023.
Interesting. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. So, okay, wait, hold on. Actually, let me see. As of January, we're talking January 25th of 2022. What we're looking at is actually $6,873.07.
And that is from until closing of March of 2023?
No, that is up until until Mr. Cho is no longer personally liable.
Okay. And then what is the amount that the petitioner accrued in question from as long as he owned? Well, that's it.
That's
January
the amount.
2020.
That's the amount.
Okay, and then so we paid, I'll give you the amount. Let me go a little backwards. We paid $7,482.43.
Mm-hmm.
When, okay, my question then is, what is the amount that Gerson truly owed?
Take that amount and then subtract the 6,008 whatever that I just gave you, and that's the amount.
Okay, that's perfect. 7,482.83 minus 6,873 point. Was it? I'm sorry, 6,873.87 or 07? I can't read my writing.
I clicked out of that. Give me a moment.
I'm sorry.
07.
Okay, 07. Okay, perfect. So just to confirm, 7,482.83 minus 6,873.07, and it's 609.76. And again, that is what he accrued
from September of
2021, right? 2019. I mean,
2019 through January of 22.
Okay, that's what I need to know. Perfect.
Okay, so that's the amount that he owes personally.
Okay.
The amounts, however, he would have standing to challenge the full 7,400-ish because that came out of his escrow.
Correct.
And so the petition. So basically, by pursuing a merit petition as opposed to a refund, he's giving up the right to challenge that last $400 or $500 that he paid for Mr. Gerson.
Right. So that's my question.
As we are back on the record, I'm sorry. Perhaps these conversations can then go back on offline. Our board is back. Wait, Nancy and Paula are not back. Okay. Nancy, you're back. Everyone else is back. Let's go.
Okay. We've had a very interesting discussion about this, and I'm going to call upon Paula to give us a summary of what our decision is.
I think it was Dominique who was going to take lead.
Oh, is it Dominique? My apologies.
It's okay.
We go back and forth so much, I'm not even sure which one of you is going to actually do the presentation. So Dominique, I apologize. I turn to you to try to clarify this for everyone.
Sure. The board has decided to take this matter under advisement pending a brief prepared by the city outlining their new position that water bills run in persona versus in rem, and
versus both.
Okay, in persona and in rem,
yes.
And explaining how a petitioner who's no longer an owner of a property can ultimately adjudicate or have a matter adjudicated before this board for a bill, challenging a bill, or collecting a refund. We'd like this brief within 30 days, and after we receive that, we'll be able to issue a decision on this matter. Does anybody have any questions? Okay.
We had a discussion between the petitioner and Ms. Kurtz that realistically, this might be more suited to a direct settlement discussion, and that even if there were a settlement discussion, even if their settlement discussions were to fail, I believe everyone believes that it would be more proper to allow the petitioner to withdraw this petition or have this petition dismissed because it's not in a refund position, and fundamentally they're asking for a refund. And this doesn't cause them any prejudice because the statute of limitations on refund is 3 years, while the payment was made in March of this year. And that may be a better framework if I'm explaining myself clearly.
Well, clearly that's their decision as to how if they want to proceed in a different manner or a different posture right now.
So do you want to withdraw your petition currently?
Yes, if that's the case, we're going to work out with the city and see what, we're responsible for, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so let's mark this matter no further action. It's been withdrawn by the petitioner.
Yes. Mr. Joe, Ms. I didn't quite catch your name, ma'am.
Angel Carpo.
Okay. Okay.
would like to have your contact information, so
yes.
I can give that to you. I can give that to you. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I can give you his
I need it too,
email
Melissa,
address, phone
please.
number. Okay, I will do all of that. And so no, based on this decision, I just need the board to concur. I just got Ms. Ward's concurrence. I didn't get it.
George Matthews, I concur.
Paula Weiss, I concur.
Nancy Cameradiner, I concur. Is Ryan still on, or did he step away?
He is on. He just looks muted. But we have 4 members.
We have a majority of the board.
Correct. All right.
We thank you very much for coming in and initiating what has been a very interesting conversation with this board.
If the board likes, I can send an informal.
We really appreciate everybody be here and spend the time, try to resolve this.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you have something you wanted to say?
If the board wants, I can send an informal memorandum or an email brief to Melissa, just briefly outlining the statutory authority that the city relies on in this case. It's come up in sort of a parallel context before the Court of Common Pleas, and I'll reference that.
It would be helpful because it seems to be very different from what we were accustomed to in the past. So
yes,
it probably would be helpful for us going forward. Once it's happened, we'll hear other requests that are somewhat similar.
It helps illuminate some of the standing issues that arise in this very specific context of payments out of escrow at closing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much for coming in. And we hope you can get some further resolution on this in other forums.
Yes. And please, once you have my email address, send me an email right away. I will explain things.
Thank you so much.
And see if we can get a settlement. And if not, then I will try and we'll just have to figure things out from there. But I would like to try and settle this. I just didn't have the communication nor the background that you had paid out of, not only paid your own bills, but Mr. Farrer's bills out of escrow.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll check on the screen. Oh, never mind.
I have it too, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much, all.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good day.
All right, I'm just gonna go check. We have one more case left, number 3, unless Mr. Safedine has an update.
Okay.
Is that 3880 Blaine?
Yes.
Yes.
So he was supposed to have signed an agreement with me. We reached an agreement in principle. We also to be frank, we adjusted away the debts he was complaining of. So yeah, I don't know why he's not here. I don't know why he didn't sign the settlement agreement I forwarded him, but substantively, this is either no action needed or deny failure to appear. Either way, he's happy.
Well, I would say that if he's not here and we haven't heard from him, it's denied for failure to appear.
Agreed. There is nobody here. Again,
okay, thank you for verifying that.
Dominique Moore concurs with that. Thank you.
George Matthews, I concur with that.
And
Ryan
Nancy
Ward
Cameradiner, I
concurs.
concur. Whoops, I'm sorry, Ryan, I spoke over you. Well,
I just
Ryan and I
concur.
both together said that we concur.
All right.
Okay, that being the last item on our agenda, unless there's something else that others know about that needs to come before us, I'll pause for a second in case there are any other items. And hearing no one bring one forth, this hearing is adjourned.
Have a good afternoon,
Thank
everybody.
you, everyone.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
See you on Thursday.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Get that to me in like as soon as you can. I would really love to.
I can whip something up from some pre-prepared materials. I've been doing a lot in this space. Nice haircut, by the way.
And I'm literally like, when did this happen? Thank you, Kareem. I always appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye now.